Hi, Dr. Zorba Pastor here with a rapid response to the recent congressional testimony before Congress given by Kennedy. So let's review what actually occurred and then what I make of it. So first of all, he largely avoided the vaccine controversy. Why? Because we've got a major measles outbreak in this country. First of all, if you look at the number of children and adults who have had measles, it's in about the 4,000 range, and it might be 6,000 to 8,000 because there are people who have measles at home and don't report it. But he couldn't escape that, and that was measles outbreak is a major issue. And he did not strongly defend his new vaccine policy, which then gets rid of giving hepatitis B vaccine to young children. And we know that if you get hepatitis B vaccine at birth, it reduces dramatically your risk of getting hepatocellular cancer when you're an adult. And so since we started giving hepatitis B vaccine, we've dropped that risk dramatically. And we're going to see that 10, 20, 30 years down the line. We've already seen a drop in hepatocellular cancer from that. And also, most importantly, that's the time you give it, because that's when a child, a baby, is most likely to develop antibodies to Hep B, which is a problem in America. So he defended scaling back some of his vaccine policies, saying it should be individual decision-making. But the reality is giving it at birth is really what counts. And if we're not behind that, our children are not going to get it. So he faced intense bipartisan criticism in front of Congress about his conspiracy theory, underlying the vaccine issues. And once again, he believes, with no scientific evidence, that vaccines cause autism. He made a lot of money on doing that. He made a lot of money basically speaking in front of a number of juries about that. And so he's a rich guy because of this. The other thing is he defended major healthcare budget cuts, a 12% drop in NIH funding. And we need NIH funding because that's how we get basic research, which is why we're living that much longer. And these are bad things that he's done. Now, let's look at the good side for just a second. He'd like to remove synthetic dyes from food. He'd like to get rid of ultra-processed food. I think that's a great idea. And frankly, the other heads of the National Institute of Health and the FDA and the CDC and basically his health secretary have not done that. So I think that really is a good idea. I think it is important to try to have better food certainly within the system that we eat and certainly within our schools. So that part is good. The idea that you should actually start to use beef tallow to actually fry things, certainly not a great idea. But I think on the whole, that part is a good idea. So what's the bottom line here? The bottom line is vaccines are good for us and have made a major change. And that the federal government under RFK is undermining the authority that really rests behind it. And that parents, when their child comes out, when they first have a baby, if they're asked, well, should you get this vaccine or not, versus we give this vaccine to all of our children, it's going to be hard to make that decision. I mean, how do you make that decision when your baby is first born? I think it's very important for us to educate people about the vaccines, especially since the federal government is failing in their opportunity to do this. This is Dr. Zorba Pastor for my podcast, Say Well with Dr. Zorba Pastor. And as I love to say, stay well.